Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine your phone rings or you open an email and it looks really official. Maybe it claims there's a problem with your bank or even worse, with your taxes or Social Security benefits. Your heart sinks a little, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That little moment of confusion or even panic.
Exactly. Scammers thrive on that. In fact, according to our sources, email was the single top method scammers used to contact people back in 2024.
Wow, email specifically.
Yeah, think about that. Not phone calls first, not texts, but email leading the charge. That statistic alone is, well, it's a stark reminder of just how pervasive and persistent this threat really is.
It's not random noise, it's targeted.
It really is. It requires us to be constantly aware, vigilant.
Absolutely. And what's truly fascinating, or maybe alarming, is how these scam tactics, while they definitely adapt to new tech, they often rely on the same fundamental psychological triggers.
Like urgency, fear.
Exactly. They press on urgency, fear, or sometimes, even greed, offering something too good to be true.
Right. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. We're pulling back the curtain on financial scams here in the U.S., drawing information directly from, the front lines.
From the official sources.
Yes, official sources like the Federal Trade Commission, the IRS, the Social Security Administration's Office of the Inspector General, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Our mission here is to equip you, our listener, with the practical knowledge from these agencies.
So you can understand them, spot them.
Understand, spot, and most importantly, avoid common scams. We're really zeroing in particularly on those who, brazenly impersonate the IRS and the Social Security Administration.
Yeah, and these are the agencies that are constantly seeing the latest schemes. They're gathering the data on how they work, who they impact. So by focusing on their insights, we get a really grounded view of the current landscape.
And the most effective defenses, hopefully.
That's the goal.
So let's start by just defining our terms. When we talk about a financial scam in this context, what are we really describing?
Okay. At its core, a financial scam is basically a deceptive act. It's criminals specifically designing something to trick you into giving them your money or your sensitive personal information.
It's fraud with a direct financial objective.
Exactly. Simple as that.
A type we see mentioned repeatedly across these sources, one that really preys on trust, is the imposter scam.
Yes, imposter scams are fundamental to the landscape. This is where the criminal pretends to be someone they are not, crucially, someone you're likely to trust.
Like a bank or the government.
Could be a representative from a well-known business,
Right.
a government official, or even a supposed family member or friend reaching out saying they're in distress. The entire premise is built on a lie. They create this false sense of credibility or urgency to manipulate you.
To get you to do what they want.
Which is almost always sending money or revealing private data. That's the bottom line.
And they're not picky about who they impersonate, are they? Beyond the IRS and Social Security, our sources highlight a truly staggering variety of entities they'll pretend to be.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. Think about it. Maybe you're complaining about a flight delay online, right? Suddenly, someone claiming to be from the airline DMs you offering help often. That's a scam.
Okay.
Or you might get a text that looks like it's from USPS or FedEx about a delivery issue saying you need to click a link.
I think I've gotten those.
They're very common. Scammers pose as potential employers offering fake jobs, creating incredibly convincing scenarios. They'll call pretending to be a grandchild needing money for an emergency.
The grandparent scam.
The classic grandparent scam. Or they'll send you a fake invoice claiming you owe money for, say, tech support you never received, like from Geek Squad. Or even make urgent calls about supposedly unpaid tolls.
They really adapt, don't they?
They watch the news, they follow trends, they adapt their costumes, so to speak, based on what's happening in the world and what services people commonly use.
The key thread, though, seems to be that initial step gaining your trust or creating that panic to sort of bypass your critical thinking and convince you they're legitimate before they make their demand.
Precisely. That trust or the exploitation of urgency or fear, that's the entry point for the deception. That's how they get their foot in the door.
Okay, let's zoom in on one of the most prevalent ways scammers make that initial contact, and the one that really jumped out in the data from last year. Phishing attacks.
Ah, phishing. Yes. This is basically the digital equivalent of casting a really wide net. It primarily involves using deceptive email or text messages that are specifically crafted to trick recipients into revealing sensitive information.
Like passwords.
Account numbers.
Yeah, passwords, account number, bank details, or that golden ticket for identity thieves, your social security number.
And once they have that information, what's the typical end game? What do they do with it?
Well, they use it for various malicious purposes. They might try unauthorized access to your existing online accounts, everything from banking and shopping to email and social media.
Okay.
Or, very commonly, they'll bundle your personal data and sell it to other criminals on the dark web.
Oh, yes, where it can then be used for filing fraudulent tax returns, opening credit accounts, or all sorts of other identity theft. It's really a key facilitator for downstream fraud.
And just to circle back to that initial statistic, email was the #1 contact method for scammers in 2024, according to the FTC sources. That just makes understanding phishing tactics absolutely essential, doesn't it?
It really underscores the point. It's not just annoying spam. It's a calculated attempt to manipulate you using the tools you use every single day.
So what are some of the specific tactics they employ in these phishing messages? What kind of bait are they using?
Well, a very common approach is to create a false sense of urgency or claim there's some serious problem that requires your immediate attention.
Like your account is locked.
Exactly. An alert about suspicious activity on one of your accounts, a supposed problem with your billing or payment information, or a message demanding that you verify sensitive details right away to avoid some negative consequence.
They also use fake documents to seem more credible, don't they? Like attachments.
Absolutely. You might get an email with an attachment that looks like an invoice for something you didn't actually buy. They hope you'll open it out of curiosity or concern, but often that attachment contains malware.
Oh, nasty.
Which can infect your device. Or they'll embed links in the message itself. They promise to take you to a legitimate payment page or login, but actually they lead to fake websites designed to steal your credentials or install malicious software.
And sometimes, instead of a problem, they offer something that seems, well, too good to be true. Like a prize or refund.
Yes, the lure of something positive. Our sources mention fraudulent claims about eligibility for government refunds as a common phishing tactic.
Oh, watch out for those.
Definitely. Or fake offers of free coupons, discounts, or gift cards. Click the link, enter your info, and boom, you've potentially compromised yourself.
They go to pretty great lengths to make these messages look legitimate, too.
Yeah.
Using logos, mimicking official language.
They do. It's sophisticated visual spoofing sometimes. They'll use the exact logos and branding of well-known companies or government agencies. The email layout might look totally correct. The language sounds formal and official. They're really trying to lower your guard by appearing familiar and trustworthy.
But despite that effort, there are absolutely telltale red flags if you know what to look for. What are the signs that just scream, this is phishing?
Yeah, the sources provide a really clear list here. A big one is a generic greeting instead of using your actual name.
Like, dear customer.
Exactly, dear customer or hello user. If a company you actually have an account with is contacting you about a specific issue, they almost always use your name. Getting that generic greeting is a strong indicator of bulk phishing.
Right, because they don't actually know who they're sending it to specifically, just blasting it out.
Exactly. Another common sign is a message claiming your account is on hold or locked due to a billing or verification problem. This is designed purely to create panic and make you act fast without thinking.
And the biggest warning sign seems to be those embedded links, right? Asking you to click in the message.
This is perhaps the most critical red flag highlighted by the FTC source, inviting you to click a link directly within the email or text message to do things like update payment details, verify your account, or resolve the issue.
So the real company wouldn't ask you to do that through a link in an email.
This is a principle you should, engrave in your mind. Legitimate companies and government agencies typically will not ask you to update sensitive information like payment details or login credentials by clicking on a link sent in an unsolicited email or text message. It just doesn't happen that way.
So what should you do if you get a message like that and you're worried it might be real?
Okay, the correct and safe response is always to navigate independently to the company's official website, one that you know is correct.
How do you do that?
By typing the address directly into your browser or using a trusted bookmark you've saved previously, or call them using a phone number you look up yourself on their official site or maybe on a recent statement.
But never use the contact info or links in the suspicious message itself.
Never, ever. That simple step, going to the source yourself through a trusted channel, can save you from most phishing attempts.
That makes so much sense. You're controlling the channel of communication, ensuring it's the legitimate one, and the impact of falling for this. I mean, it goes beyond just losing money, right?
Oh, absolutely. For individuals, successful phishing often leads directly to identity theft. The scammer now has the keys to your digital life, or at least enough information to pose as you.
Wow.
And for the legitimate companies whose brands are being spoofed, it causes significant reputational damage. It erodes customer trust. They have to spend time and money dealing with the fallout and reassuring their real customers.
Okay, that really lays out phishing. Now let's do that deep dive into two specific types of imposter scams that cause widespread concern, particularly because they involve highly trusted government agencies. Let's start with the IRS. Everyone has some interaction with the IRS eventually, right?
Yeah.
And scammers know that just mentioning taxes is a great way to scare people. So the fundamental question, how does the real IRS actually contact you?
This is the crucial piece of information from the IRS sources to protect yourself. The primary takeaway, the big one, is that the real IRS almost always initiates contact by mail first.
Mail first. Not a phone call, not a text, not an email out of the blue.
For initial contact regarding most tax matters, we're talking audits, collections, problems with your return. Yes, it's overwhelmingly mail. They send official letters and notices through the U.S. Postal Service.
So an unexpected call.
An unexpected phone call, email, or text claiming to be from the IRS is an immediate major red flag. Huge.
What about unannounced visits? We hear stories about IRS agents just showing up.
Yeah, well, unannounced visits from IRS employees are actually extremely rare these days. The agency has significantly scaled back on them, partly to help combat these very imposter scams and ensure public safety. While there are specific types of IRS employees who might eventually visit you face-to-face, they generally will have attempted to contact you by mail multiple times beforehand to try and set up a meeting.
Okay, so mail first is pretty much the rule. But you mentioned specific types of employees who might visit eventually. Who are they?
Right. The IRS identifies four main types: revenue agents who conduct audits, revenue officers who handle collections, special agents from criminal investigation, or CI, and fuel inspectors, though that's less common for most people.
And how do their contact methods differ slightly, while still generally upholding that mail-first principle for typical issues?
Okay, so for revenue agents doing audits, they initiate contact by mail first, outlining the audit details. They may call you, but only after you've received that initial mail notice, usually to schedule appointments or discuss the audit process.
Got it. Mail first, then maybe a call.
Then revenue officers, who deal with collections when you owe money. They will send multiple notices and letters before even considering a visit. If they do decide a visit is necessary, it's usually only after several unanswered attempts to reach you by mail or phone to arrange a meeting.
So they're not just showing up randomly?
Not usually, and they'll often send a specific letter 725B, prior to the visit. Their goal is usually to talk about payment options or collection procedures, not, demand immediate, unusual payment right there at the door.
Okay. What about the criminal investigation special agents? That sounds a bit different.
It is slightly different, yeah, and this is an important nuance to understand. Special agents from CI who are involved in criminal tax investigations, they may visit or call unannounced as part of an active investigation. They are federal law enforcement.
Okay, that's a key distinction.
It is. They might also contact third parties related to the investigation, and in some specific contexts may use third-party email platforms. However, their focus is on serious tax crimes, not typically harassing individuals over the phone for immediate payment of, say, routine back taxes. That's not what they do.
Okay, so for the vast majority of taxpayers dealing with typical issues like audits or collections, it's definitely mail first. And regardless of who visits, if someone does show up, they absolutely must have identification, right?
Absolutely essential. The IRS sources cannot stress this enough. Any legitimate IRS employee visiting you in person will have official credentials.
What kind of credentials?
Revenue agents and revenue officers carry two things: a pocket commission and an HSPD-12 card. That HSPD-12 card is a standard federal government identification card. You have the absolute right to ask to see both of these credentials and to take a moment to verify their identity.
How do you verify it? Just looking at it might not be enough.
Good point. You should verify the information on the HSPD-12 card by calling the main IRS number. That's 1-800-829-140. Call them to confirm the employee is legitimate and is supposed to be there.
And crucially, don't use a phone number the person at your door gives you, right?
Absolutely not. Look up the official IRS number yourself on irs.gov or a trusted source. Now, criminal investigation special agents, being law enforcement, will present law enforcement credentials.
And what if someone shows up, claims to be IRS, but refuses to show ID, or you just feel unsafe?
The IRS is very clear on this. Your safety is the priority. If you feel unsafe for any reason or you have serious doubts about the person's identity, do not let them in. Don't open the door fully. Call 911 immediately. Then, once it's safe, contact the IRS using their official number to report the incident.
That's really clear practical guidance. It gives you concrete steps.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's dig into the specific scams the IRS is currently warning people about. Because they're getting pretty creative, it seems.
They really are. One major vector right now is social media. Scammers are pushing completely false information, often encouraging people to file fake tax returns, claiming huge, illegitimate refunds or credits.
How does that work?
They might claim you're eligible for fake credits you don't actually qualify for, or tell you to invent household employees to claim certain credits. Really outlandish stuff sometimes.
Can the IRS actually catch people doing that? I mean, how would they know?
Oh, absolutely. The IRS systems are designed to match information. They compare what employers report on W-2s against what taxpayers file on their returns. Falsifying income, credits, or dependents is a serious matter.
It's not just a mistake.
Well, innocent mistakes happen, and there are processes for that. But intentionally submitting false information to get a fake refund can lead to severe penalties. We're talking a potential $5,000 penalty just for filing a frivolous tax return, or even potential criminal charges. It's absolutely not worth the risk.
Yikes. Okay. What about setting up an IRS online account? I feel like I've seen ads for services that offer to help with that.
Yeah, be extremely wary of any unsolicited help with that. There's a known scam where criminals offer to assist you in setting up your online IRS account.
What's their real goal?
Their true goal is to steal your sensitive information during that setup process. Your social security number, your taxpayer identification number, TIN, maybe even a photo ID they ask for.
So how should you set it up?
The advice from the IRS is simple and, importantly, free. Set up your account yourself directly on the official IRS website, which is irs.gov. If you run into trouble or need assistance, contact the IRS directly through their official channels, not someone who contacted you first offering help.
That makes sense. Donation scams tied to taxes feel particularly cynical.
They really are. Especially during disaster relief efforts or around the year-end beaving season, fake charities will pop up and pressure you for quick payments, often demanding gift cards or wire transfers, those classic scam payment methods.
How do you check if a charity is legit for tax purposes?
Before donating, especially if you're hoping for a potential tax deduction, always check if the charity is legitimate and actually has tax-exempt status. You can do this using the IRS's tax-exempt organization search tool. It's called TEOS, right there on irs.gov.
Good tip. And there's a specific fuel tax credit scam you mentioned.
Yes, this one is a bit more niche, but it's being exploited. Scammers promise these large refunds based on the credit for federal tax paid on fuel.
Who actually qualifies for that?
The real credit is only intended for specific off-highway business use, like farming, construction, or certain other commercial activities. Most ordinary taxpayers, driving their personal cars, absolutely do not qualify. The IRS has even had to update the instructions for Form 41306 recently to provide more clarity because the scam became so prevalent.
Wow. I also saw mentions in the sources of scammers trying to use expired pandemic-era credits. Still.
That's right. They're still trying to exploit those. Specifically, the credits for sick and family leave for self-employed individuals. These were only for tax years 2020 and 2021. They are expired now.
So who are they targeting?
Scammers are targeting people who aren't even self-employed or trying to get legitimate self-employed people to claim the credit improperly, maybe by inventing non-existent employees or inflating figures. The IRS is actively scrutinizing returns claiming these credits and can impose significant penalties plus repayment for erroneous claims.
And linked to that, there's a completely fake self-employment tax credit scam going around, too.
Yes, this is a pure phantom credit. It doesn't exist. Scammers promote a non-existent self-employment tax credit, often throwing out large, enticing figures like $32,000 to grab attention.
How do they justify it?
They might loosely reference the old expired sick and family leave credits, but this specific credit they're pushing simply does not exist in the tax code. It's pure fantasy designed to lure people into providing personal information or paying a fee for help claiming it.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, what about choosing someone to help you prepare your taxes? Are there scams there?
Absolutely. You need to be extremely cautious about ghost tax preparers.
Ghost preparers, what are they?
These are individuals who you pay to prepare your tax return, but crucially, they do not have a valid preparer tax identification number, or PTIN, which is required for paid preparers, and they refuse to sign your return as the preparer.
Why is that bad?
Because they prepare the return, take their fee, and then they just disappear. They vanish like a ghost. This leaves you, the taxpayer, solely responsible for any errors, any understated tax, any resulting penalties or interest that may arise from that improperly filed return.
So how do you avoid them?
Always, always use a preparer who has a valid PTIN and who signs your return as the preparer. You can actually verify preparers and their credentials on the IRS website using their directory tool.
Good to know. And it seems tax preparers themselves are actually being targeted by scammers too.
Yes, unfortunately, through a pretty sophisticated phishing scheme that the IRS calls the new client scam.
How does that work?
Hackers pose as potential new clients. They send emails to tax preparers that contain malicious links or attachments. If the preparer clicks or opens them, it can infiltrate their computer systems.
And steal client data.
Exactly. The goal is often to steal sensitive client data held by the preparer. So the IRS is warning preparers to be incredibly vigilant. Look for unusual wording or requests in emails from supposed new clients, use strong security like two-factor authentication on their systems, and always verify the identity of new clients using methods outside of just email, like a phone call or video chat.
Wow, that's a lot of specific scams.
Oh.
It really shows how many different angles these criminals are working. But let's try to synthesize this a bit. What are the absolute, undeniable, must-know red flags that tell you someone claiming to be from the IRS is definitely a scammer? The sources seem to list about 10 key signs.
Yes, and this list is really your essential defense shield. If someone claiming to be from the IRS does any of these things, you should immediately assume it's a scam.
Okay, let's run through them. Number 1.
1. They call you first. As we stressed, the real IRS initiates contact by mail for most issues. An unexpected call out of the blue is highly suspicious. 2. They leave pre-recorded, urgent, or threatening voicemails. The legitimate IRS just does not use these kinds of high-pressure automated tactics. 3, they email you to initiate contact or request information. The IRS does not start contact via email or ask for personal or financial information that way. Don't reply, don't click links, don't open attachments from unsolicited emails claiming to be the IRS. And always, always double-check website addresses. The official one ends in irs.gov, not .com, .net, or .org.
Got it. 4.
They text you to initiate contact or request information. Same as email. The real IRS does not initiate contact via text message. Do not respond.
5.
5. They contact you via social media. The IRS does not initiate contact through social media channels like Facebook or Twitter for official tax business.
6.
6. They reference a form or document that isn't actually on the official IRS website, irs.gov. Any legitimate IRS form or notice they might mention can be found and verified on their official site. If you can't find it there, it's likely fake.
7. This relates to in-person visits.
Yes. 7. They can't produce, or maybe don't even know about, an HSPD 12 card for those revenue agents or officers, or they refuse to let you take the time to verify their identity. Real employees have specific ID, and they expect you to verify them if they are visiting you.
Okay. 8.
8. They ask you for a credit card or debit card number over the phone. The IRS does not ask for this sensitive payment information over the phone.
9. This one seems huge.
9 is critical. They demand payment only via specific, unconventional, hard-to-trace methods. This is one of the biggest, brightest red flags. The real IRS does not demand payment using gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or by telling you to mail physical cash.
How does the real IRS accept payment?
They mail paper bills first. They offer legitimate payment options like mailing a check or money order made payable specifically to the U.S. Treasury, or secure online payment options directly through irs.gov, never gift cards.
Okay, and the last one. Number 10.
10. They threaten immediate severe actions like arrest, deportation, or revoking state-issued licenses, like your driver's license or a business license, without giving you any chance to question the debt or appeal their decision.
The real IRS wouldn't do that.
No. The real IRS does not make these kinds of immediate, extreme threats designed purely to terrify you into paying instantly. They also cannot revoke state-issued licenses or impact your immigration status directly like that. And they don't send local police or sheriffs to arrest you for simply owing taxes without a very lengthy formal legal process involving courts. Remember, the Taxpayer Bill of Rights guarantees you the right to question and appeal IRS actions. Scammers ignore those rights.
That list is incredibly powerful. It gives you really concrete, actionable criteria to evaluate any contact claiming to be from the IRS. If even one of those things is present, you can be pretty certain it's a scam.
Absolutely. Hang up, delete the email, don't engage.
But let's consider the flip side. Let's say you actually do owe the IRS money, and you get a notice or maybe even a follow-up call that sounds legitimate. How do you navigate verifying that situation safely?
Okay, the safest and most reliable way is always to independently verify your tax status directly with the IRS yourself.
How can you do that?
You can create a secure online account on irs.gov. They use the ID.me verification system, which is quite robust. This account allows you to securely access your own tax records, see if you actually owe anything according to them, view legitimate notices the IRS has sent you, and check your payment history.
And that's free.
It's completely free, and crucially, it puts you in control of accessing your information directly from the source.
And if you log in and confirm you genuinely owe money, how do you pay legitimately and safely?
The IRS offers several legitimate payment methods. You can make a secure direct payment from your bank account via irs.gov. You can pay by check or money order mailed to the correct IRS address again. Always make it payable to the U.S. Treasury. Or, if you can't pay the full amount at once, you can look into setting up an official installment agreement to pay over time. All these legitimate options are clearly explained on the official IRS website or detailed in the instructions on legitimate mail notices they send.
The sources also mention something called OIC mills. What should people know about those?
Right. OIC stands for Offer in Compromise. It's actually a legitimate IRS program that allows eligible taxpayers, and eligibility is key to resolve their tax debt for less than the full amount owed, but only under specific circumstances, usually related to financial hardship or doubt about the liability.
So what are the mills?
OIC mills are basically predatory companies that often advertise very heavily, maybe on radio or TV, making really exaggerated claims about how they can settle your tax debt for pennies on the dollar.
Sounds too good to be true.
Often it is. They frequently charge high fees up front and may not actually be able to deliver on their promises. Sometimes they target people who don't even realistically qualify for the OIC program in the first place.
So what's the IRS advice?
The IRS advises taxpayers to first use their own free Offer in Compromise pre-qualifier tool, which is available right on irs.gov. This tool helps you see if you might be eligible for the program before you even think about contacting any third-party company and paying them fees. It's another example of verifying directly with the official source first.
That seems to be the recurring theme. When in doubt, go directly to the official source yourself. Don't rely on unsolicited contact. Okay, let's shift our focus now to the other major government agency that's frequently targeted by these imposter scams, the Social Security Administration, or SSA. How does the real SSA typically get in touch with people? Because I know scammers are constantly calling about Social Security numbers being suspended.
Yes, that's a huge scam tactic. And this is a key point of distinction compared to the IRS general rule. The SSA sources clarify that Social Security Administration employees do actually contact the public by telephone for legitimate business purposes sometimes.
Okay, so getting a phone call from the SSA isn't automatically a scam, unlike the IRS general rule.
Not automatically, no. They might call you, for example, if you've recently applied for Social Security benefits and they need more information, or if they need updated information for someone who is already receiving benefits, or maybe if you specifically requested a phone call from them about an issue.
Okay, but there's a big but, isn't there?
There is, and this is the crucial point. If there is a serious problem with your Social Security number, your record, or your benefits, the SSA typically initiates contact by mailing you a letter first, just like the IRS for major issues.
Okay. So similar to the IRS for problems, but they do use the phone legitimately for other routine reasons. The real red flag, then, is an unsolicited call claiming there's a problem with your SSN, especially if it's urgent or threatening.
Exactly that. That unsolicited call claiming your SSN is suspended, or there's some criminal activity linked to it, or there's a problem with your account that requires immediate payment or information that is a massive red flag. That's the scammer's opening move.
And they pretend to be SSA or they're investigators.
Yes, scammers impersonating the SSA or their investigative arm, the Office of the Inspector General, OIG, use all the channels: calls, texts, emails, fake websites that look real, social media messages, and even phony letters mailed to your house. They try to get you to reveal personal information or, of course, send money.
And they might try to sound convincing.
Absolutely. They might even use real employee names they found online to sound more credible. Or sometimes they'll send fake documents or pictures of badges as proof, which, as we'll discuss, real federal agents don't do.
The SSA sources break down recognizing an SSA scam into 4 basic signs, right? Pretty simple ones.
Yes, and they align perfectly with the general scam patterns we've already talked about. It boils down to these 4 things.
Okay, number 1.
1. They pretend to be from the SSA or the OIG. They're establishing that false sense of authority and trust right away.
2.
2. They say there is a problem. This is the most common tactic, claiming your SSN is suspended or there's something wrong with your record. Less often, they might claim you've won a prize or are due extra benefits, which is also just a lure to get your info.
3.
3. They pressure you to act immediately. They create that sense of urgency, wanting to rush you so you don't have time to think, verify, or talk to anyone else.
And 4, the payment demand.
And 4, they tell you to pay in a specific, hard-to-trace way. Gift cards, wire transfers, crypto, mailing cash, the usual scammer payment menu.
That immediate pressure and the demand for those unusual payment methods, it really is the universal language of scammers, isn't it? It cuts across all types of imposter scams.
It truly is. And to combat this specifically for SSA scams, the SSA sources provide an incredibly clear and powerful tool. They call it the Never Ever list.
The Never Ever list. I like that.
Yeah, these are things the real Social Security Administration will absolutely never do. If someone claiming to be from the SSA does any single thing on this list, beyond a shadow of a doubt, 100%, it's a scam. No need to second guess.
Okay, let's go through that list. This sounds like your non-negotiable defense against SSA impersonators.
Right. So the real Social Security Administration will never
1.
Never threaten you with arrest or legal action because you don't immediately agree to pay money or give information. They don't operate through threats.
2, the big one.
Never suspend your Social Security number. That's a complete scammer myth designed purely to scare you. Your SSN cannot be suspended.
3, about benefits.
Never claim they need your personal information or payment just to give you a cost of living adjustment, COLA, or any other benefit increase you're entitled to. CLAs happen automatically for eligible recipients. They don't require payment or verification via an unsolicited call.
4, pressure again.
Never pressure you to take immediate action or share personal information over the phone or online. Legitimate interactions allow you time and follow clear procedures.
5, payment methods.
Ever ask you to pay with gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or by mailing cash? Just like the IRS, these are simply not legitimate government payment methods. Full stop.
6, threats about money.
Never threaten to seize your bank account immediately.
7, another money one.
Never offer to help you move your money to a special protected bank account. This is a common scam tactic where they try to get you to transfer your funds directly to them.
8, secrecy.
Never demand that you keep the conversation or the supposed situation a secret. Scammers thrive on isolating their victims. Legitimate agencies operate openly.
And 9, social media.
Never direct message you on social media channels asking for sensitive personal information. Official government social media pages are for public information dissemination, not secure personal interactions about your benefits or SSN.
Wow, that Never Ever list is incredibly valuable. It just cuts through all the complex stories or threats scammers might use. If they do any of those things, just hang up or ignore the message.
Precisely. It provides an immediate, clear way to verify if the contact is fake. The sources also specifically mention that scammers are getting better at creating surprisingly convincing imposter social media pages for the SSA too.
So how can you tell if an SSA social media page is fake versus the real deal?
You need to look closely at the details. Fake pages often have very few followers compared to the official agency pages. Scammers are also often prone to poor spelling, grammar, and punctuation in their posts. Check any links they provide. Do they actually go to the official SSA.gov website, or do they lead to a slightly different, misspelled, or odd-looking URL?
Anything else?
Yeah, be wary of pages that seem to be advertising forms or services that the real SSA actually provides for free, or pages using slightly incorrect social media handles, maybe off by one letter or symbol. The absolute safest bet is always to find the official SSA social media links by starting at the real SSA.gov website itself.
And speaking of technology making things harder, the SSA notes that artificial intelligence, AI, is now being used by scammers too. How?
Yes, this is a concerning development they're tracking. Scammers are using AI tools to make their voices sound much more natural and convincing on phone calls. Less robotic, fewer awkward pauses.
So they sound more like a real person.
Exactly. This could potentially even allow them to mimic known voices in the future, maybe even a family member's voice, adding another really disturbing layer to the deception. It means you can't solely rely on someone sounding off or having a noticeable foreign accent anymore as a sign of a scam.
That's a chilling thought, the voice cloning potential. But the core never ever list still holds true regardless of how real they might sound, right?
Absolutely. The tactics behind them will ask the specific threats they make, the demands for unusual payment methods, the intense pressure, the claim of SSN suspension. Those are the constants you need to listen for, regardless of how polished the voice sounds. And the sources also strongly remind us that it is illegal for anyone to reproduce federal credentials or badges. And crucially, real federal law enforcement agents will never send you photos of their credentials via text or email and then demand payment. If someone claiming to be law enforcement sends you a picture of a badge and tells you to pay money to avoid arrest, it's 100% a scam.
Got it. Okay, so we've covered how to spot and avoid these really common IRS and SSA scams. But what if the worst happens? What if you realize your social security number or other sensitive information has been compromised or stolen? What's the action plan then?
Right. This is where timely action can significantly mitigate the potential damage. The sources from the FTC and the credit bureaus provide very clear steps. And remember, a stolen SSN is incredibly valuable to criminals because it's a master key to so many systems.
What kinds of fraudulent activities can they actually do with the stolen SSN?
Oh, a lot. They can use it to file fake tax returns in your name and try to steal your refund before you file. They can apply for government benefits like unemployment insurance under your identity. They can use it often along with other stolen data, like your date of birth or address, to open new credit card accounts, take out loans, or even get utilities like electricity or phone service set up in your name.
Sticking you with the bills and damaging your credit.
Exactly. It can create a huge mess.
So if you suspect your SSN or identity has been stolen, what is the very first, most important thing to do?
Report the identity theft immediately to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. The best way to do this is online at their dedicated website, identitytheft.gov.
Identitytheft.gov, yes.
This site is designed specifically to help victims of identity theft. You enter information about what happened, how you think your info was stolen, what fraudulent activity you've noticed, and the FTC uses that to generate a personalized recovery plan just for you.
A recovery plan? What does that include?
It's like a step-by-step guide tailored to your specific situation. It'll tell you things like which agencies to contact, how to dispute fraudulent accounts with businesses, what letters you might need to send. It's an incredibly useful starting point.
What about filing a police report? Is that necessary?
Filing a police report is generally considered an optional step, but it can be very beneficial in certain situations. It's particularly helpful if you actually know who stole your identity. Maybe it was someone you know personally. Or if the identity theft was used in a way that led to a police interaction or crime report being filed against you incorrectly, like if someone used your stolen ID during a traffic stop or passed a fraudulent check in your name.
So if you decide to file one, what should you bring?
If you go to file a police report for identity theft, you should bring your FTC identity theft report that you generated online, a valid government-issued photo ID, proof of your current address, like a utility bill, and any other evidence you have of the theft, like fraudulent bills or collection notices. It's worth noting that some creditors or banks might ask for a police report number when you're disputing fraudulent accounts, so having one can sometimes streamline that process.
Okay. Beyond reporting, protecting your credit is obviously critical once your SSN is compromised. That seems paramount.
Absolutely essential. If your SSN is out there, locking down your credit is key. The sources highlight two primary tools for doing this: setting up a credit freeze and initiating a fraud alert.
What's the difference between those two, and maybe which one should you use?
Okay, a credit freeze, which is also sometimes called a security freeze, is generally considered the strongest measure. It basically restricts access to your credit report.
How does that help?
Well, if a scammer tries to open a new credit account, like a credit card or loan, in your name, the lender typically needs to pull your credit report to check your creditworthiness. If your report is frozen, the lender won't be able to access it, and therefore they most likely won't approve the new account. It's like putting a padlock on your credit file.
Does freezing affect your credit score?
No, placing or lifting a credit freeze does not affect your credit score at all, and you can temporarily SAW or permanently remove the freeze anytime you need to apply for legitimate credit yourself. It just requires an extra step for you.
And you have to freeze it with all the bureaus.
Yes, this is important. You must place a freeze separately with each of the 3 major credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Freezing with just one doesn't protect you with the others.
Okay, so that's the freeze. What about a fraud alert?
A fraud alert is a bit less restrictive than a full freeze. It essentially puts a flag on your credit report, notifying potential lenders and creditors that they must take extra steps to verify your identity before extending any new credit in your name. It acts more like a warning system for them.
Are there different kinds?
Yes, there are 2 main types. An initial fraud alert typically lasts for 1 year and is renewable. An extended fraud alert is available for confirmed victims of identity theft, usually requiring that FTC report or a police report, and lasts for 7 years.
Do you need to contact all 3 bureaus for an alert too?
No, for a fraud alert, you only need to place it with one of the 3 major credit bureaus. That bureau is then required by law to notify the other 2, so the alert gets placed on all 3 reports. However, most experts agree that placing a credit freeze with all 3 bureaus is generally the more secure and proactive option if identity theft is a significant concern or has already occurred.
Okay, so freezing seems like the stronger lock if you're really worried. After reporting to the FTC and setting up a freeze or alert, what else is involved in that recovery process? It sounds like there's more legwork.
There often is. You'll likely need to contact the specific companies, banks, or even government entities where your stolen SSN or personal information was used fraudulently.
So, for example, if a new credit card was opened in your name.
Exactly. You need to contact the bank or credit card company that issued that fraudulent account immediately, report the identity theft, tell them the account is not yours, and formally dispute any charges made on it.
And if they used one of your existing accounts fraudulently.
Same process. Contact your existing bank or credit card company right away. Report the fraudulent activity, specify which charges are not yours, and follow their process for disputing those charges and securing your account, which might involve getting a new card number.
What about if your SSN was used for non-credit things like fake tax returns or medical care?
Yes, that happens too. If you suspect your SSN was used to file a fake tax return, you'll need to work directly with the IRS to resolve that they have specific procedures involving an identity theft affidavit, Form 1F039. If it was used to fraudulently apply for government benefits like unemployment, you'll need to contact the relevant state or federal agency. And if someone unfortunately used your identity to receive medical care, resulting in medical bills or incorrect records in your name, you'll need to contact the medical providers involved and potentially your health insurance company to dispute those records and bills.
That sounds like it could become a real tangle to sort out.
It definitely can be, which is why acting quickly and using that FTC identitytheft.gov resource as your roadmap is so important. It helps walk you through these necessary steps based on your specific situation. But the key takeaway is that acting quickly to report the theft and secure your accounts and credit is absolutely paramount to minimizing the long-term financial and credit damage.
And the sources specifically advise notifying those 3 major credit bureaus immediately if you even suspect your SSN has been stolen or exposed.
Yes, placing at least a fraud alert right away is a crucial first step in protecting your credit while you investigate further.
Okay, so that covers the reactive plan if things go wrong. Let's broaden out now to more general prevention and also put this into a slightly larger context, including the sadly prevalent issue of elder financial abuse.
Absolutely. Prevention truly is the best medicine when it comes to these scams. The sources we looked at consolidate several really practical tips for everyday protection of your personal information. These are habits everyone can adopt.
What are some of those key habits people should get into?
Well, one is to regularly check your credit reports. You're entitled to free annual credit reports from each of the 3 major bureaus via annualcreditreport.com. Review them carefully for any unfamiliar accounts or inquiries. Also, check your Social Security statement periodically. You can do this through your online My Social Security account at ssa.gov to make sure your earnings record looks correct.
Good idea. What about the physical SSN card?
A simple but important habit. Stop carrying your physical Social Security card in your wallet or purse. There's rarely a need for it day to day. And don't store the number unprotected on your smartphone either. Minimize where it exists physically or digitally.
And just be more careful about sharing your SSN generally.
Absolutely. Treat your SSN like gold. Only provide it when it is absolutely necessary, and you are completely certain you are dealing with a legitimate entity that truly needs it for a valid reason, like employment, taxes, or credit. Don't just give it out because someone asks.
What about documents?
For physical documents that contain sensitive personal data like old bank statements, credit card offers, medical bills, use a cross-cut shredder before disposing of them. Don't just toss them in the trash or recycling bin where dumpster divers might find them.
And online security hygiene. That seems critical now.
Hugely critical. Use strong, unique passwords for all your online accounts, especially financial ones. Don't reuse passwords across multiple sites. And crucially, enable multi-factor authentication, MFA, sometimes called two-factor authentication, 2FA, whenever it's offered.
Remind us what MFA is again.
MFA requires a second step to log in, beyond just your password. It might be entering a code sent to your phone via text or an authenticator app, or using a fingerprint or facial recognition. This makes it significantly harder for a scammer to access your account, even if they somehow manage to steal or guess your password.
Any other online tips?
Yeah, be very cautious about accessing sensitive accounts like online banking or email, or doing financial transactions while connected to public Wi-Fi networks like at coffee shops or airports. These networks are often less secure and potentially vulnerable to snooping. Use a VPN or stick to your cellular data if possible for sensitive tasks.
Are there services out there that can help proactively with protecting your information?
Yes, the sources do mention a couple of options people might consider. There are privacy scan services that claim to help search for and request the removal of your personal information from various public websites and data broker sites where it might be easily found by scammers doing reconnaissance. There are also identity protection services that offer ongoing monitoring of your credit and personal information, alerting you to potential fraud, and often providing assistance with recovery if identity theft does occur. These usually involve a subscription fee.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier putting this into the context of elder financial abuse. This is a particularly upsetting aspect of the whole scam landscape, isn't it?
It really is. And the CFPB sources provide some important context here that broadens the picture beyond just stranger scams. While older adults are certainly targeted by the same types of imposter scams we've been discussing, calls from fake IRS agents or tech support scams, they are also unfortunately vulnerable to financial exploitation by trusted persons.
Trusted persons. You mean like family members or professional caregivers?
Exactly. This can include family members, friends, neighbors, caregivers you hire, or even individuals who have been given legal authority to manage their finances, such as someone holding power of attorney, a POA, or a court-appointed guardian or conservator. These individuals are sometimes referred to as fiduciaries.
And this can happen even in places like nursing homes.
Yes, the CFPB's guides specifically highlight that this type of abuse, exploitation by trusted individuals, can happen even in seemingly protected environments like nursing homes or assisted living facilities.
What makes this population, older adults, particularly vulnerable?
Well, older adults may face various challenges that scammers or exploiters can prey on. This might include physical limitations that make managing finances harder, cognitive decline or memory issues, increased social isolation or loneliness, or sometimes a deep fear of reporting abuse, especially if the abuser is a family member they depend on or don't want to get into trouble.
So both strangers and trusted people can target them.
Yes, scammers who are strangers might exploit loneliness or confusion, and trusted persons might abuse their access or influence, sometimes gradually over time. The CFPB notes that residents in care communities who are particularly isolated are sometimes targeted by staff or even other residents.
Does the CFPB have resources specifically designed to help with this issue?
Yes, thankfully they do, and they are incredibly valuable. They offer a program called Money Smart for Older Adults, which is designed to help older adults themselves, as well as their family members and caregivers, recognize common scams and financial exploitation tactics.
What else?
They also publish a series of guides called Managing Someone Else's Money. These are tailored for those financial caregivers, the people with power of attorney, guardians, trustees, etc. The guides explain their legal responsibilities clearly, offer tips on how to manage finances properly, and crucially, how to spot and avoid common pitfalls or potential abuse.
And what's a key piece of advice from those resources?
A recurring piece of advice across all these resources, whether for older adults or their caregivers, is the critical importance of encouraging open communication. Encourage older adults to talk to a trusted friend, another family member, a financial advisor, or clergy member if something feels suspicious, confusing, or just wrong about their finances, or someone asking for money. Breaking the silence and secrecy that abusers often rely on is absolutely key.
That idea of talking to someone you trust, it really seems like a foundational defense against many types of scams, not just those targeting older adults, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. It might be the simplest yet most effective defense sometimes. Scammers, whether strangers or abusive trusted persons, often rely on isolating you, creating intense pressure and demanding secrecy. Simply taking a breath and discussing an unusual request, a threatening call, or confusing financial situation with a trusted third party can often immediately reveal it as a scam or raise a red flag that needs further investigation. That outside perspective can be invaluable.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Understanding the landscape, spotting the tactics, avoiding the traps, recovering if the worst happens, and general prevention strategies. The final vital step in this whole process seems to be reporting. If you encounter a scam or believe you've been a victim, where exactly should you go? Who do you tell?
Yes, knowing where to report is crucial. It's not just for your own potential recovery, although it can help with that, but because your report provides valuable data to law enforcement and consumer protection agencies. It helps them track scammer activity, identify trends, issue warnings, and potentially build cases to shut these operations down and protect other people.
So where's the main place to report general fraud?
For general fraud or imposter scams that don't fit neatly into the specific IRS or SSA categories, the primary reporting hub is the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Reportfraud.ftc.gov.
Got it. What about phishing specifically? If you receive a phishing email, you can forward it to the Anti-Phishing Working Group at reportphishing@fbwg.org. If you receive a phishing text message, you can forward it to spam, which corresponds to the number 7726 on your phone keypad. Most carriers participate in this.
Okay. And for IRS scams specifically, where do those go?
For scams impersonating the IRS, you should report them to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, or TJTTA. You can do this online through their website or by calling their hotline at 1-800-366-4484. Additionally, the IRS asks you to forward scam IRS emails, including headers if possible, and the phone numbers from scam calls or texts to their dedicated address. Phishing at irs.gov, and when you report the scam to the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov, it's helpful to add IRS telephone scam or IRS email scam in the notes section.
And for Social Security scams?
For scams impersonating the SSA or its OIG, you should report them online at the SSA Office of the Inspector General website, which is oig.ssa.gov report. USA.gov also offers a helpful general online tool called Where to Report a Scam that can guide you to the right agency based on the type of scam you encountered.
What if the scam involves someone pretending to be from your state tax agency, not the federal IRS?
Good question. In that case, you should contact your state's Attorney General's office. They typically handle consumer protection issues at the state level, including scams impersonating state authorities.
And if financial abuse involves a specific bank account, like that trusted person scenario.
If you suspect financial abuse involving a specific bank account or credit union account, you should contact the security or fraud department at that specific bank or credit union where the account is held. While privacy rules might limit what information they can share with you about another person's account, reporting your suspicions helps them monitor the activity and potentially take internal action to protect the account holder.
And finally, for that broader category of elder financial abuse, where should those reports go?
For suspected elder financial abuse, especially involving neglect or exploitation by caregivers or fiduciaries, you should report it to the designated local authorities in your state who handle these sensitive cases. This often involves contacting Adult Protective Services, APS. Depending on the situation, it might also involve local law enforcement, state licensing agencies, if the abuse occurred in a licensed facility like a nursing home, or the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. It's also important to remember that many states have mandatory reporting laws requiring certain professionals, like doctors, nurses, social workers, financial institution employees, to report suspected elder abuse. And reporting suspected abuse in good faith is generally protected by legal immunity.
That's a very comprehensive list of resources. It really underscores that reporting closes the loop and helps the agencies fight these criminals more effectively.
Absolutely. Every single report contributes to the bigger picture, helping agencies understand the threats and allocate resources to combat them.
Okay, wow. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground here. We went from the broad landscape of financial scams, dug deep into the specific tactics used by IRS and SSA impersonators, outlined how to recover if your information is compromised, and covered essential prevention strategies and reporting. Let's try to bring it all together now.
What are the most critical, absolutely non-negotiable takeaways that you, our listener, should carry with you from this deep dive?
Okay, if I had to boil it down, the absolute key lessons are these. First, remember that scammers deliberately impersonate trusted entities, especially government agencies like the IRS and SSA. They do this because the authority and, frankly, the fear associated with these names make people more likely to react quickly and fall for their demands.
Right. They leverage that built-in trust or fear. Exactly. Second, they consistently rely on a core set of tactics. Phishing through email and text is huge, creating intense pressure or a terrifying problem that demands immediate action. And this is critical, demanding payment only through specific, untraceable methods like gift cards, cryptocurrency, or wire transfers. Those specific payment demands are perhaps the single biggest, most universal red flag of all.
If they ask for a gift card, it's a scam. Period.
Third, knowing how the real agencies actually contact you is your most powerful defense. Remember, the IRS generally contacts you by mail first for significant issues. The SSA might call for routine business, but typically mails a letter first if there's a serious problem with your SSN or record. Neither agency will ever threaten immediate arrest over the phone or demand payment in gift cards or crypto. Always verify identity independently if someone contacts you unexpectedly claiming to be from the government.
Verify.
Fourth, if your personal information like your SSN is stolen or exposed, you absolutely must act immediately. Don't wait. Report it to the FTC at identitytheft.gov to get your personalized recovery plan. Consider filing a police report in specific cases. And critically, set up a credit freeze with all three major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, to lock down your credit, and contact any companies where you see fraudulent accounts or activity popping up.
And the final takeaway, more proactive.
And finally, cultivate healthy skepticism and protect your personal information diligently every day. Use strong, unique passwords, enable multi-factor authentication everywhere you can, shred sensitive documents, be incredibly cautious about unsolicited contact, asking for info or money. And crucially, if any communication feels suspicious, pressures you, or just doesn't seem right, don't hesitate to pause and talk to a trusted friend, family member, or advisor before you do anything. That simple conversation can often be the step that stops a scam dead in its tracks.
It really sounds like the core defense woven through all of this is always being willing to just pause, take a breath, question what you're being told, and verify independently through channels you initiate and trust.
Exactly. That's the essence of it. These scams are sophisticated, no doubt about it, and they are constantly evolving. They're leveraging new tools like AI to sound more convincing than ever before. But the underlying methods, the deception, the manufactured urgency, the demands for unusual, untraceable payments, those remain remarkably consistent.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
It means that your awareness of these enduring patterns, these common tactics, combined with your willingness to pause that initial gut reaction of fear or maybe even excitement if it's a prize scam, question the legitimacy of any unexpected contact, and take that proactive step to verify the information through official channels you know are real. That is the single most powerful tool you have. It's your shield to safeguard your finances and your identity in this ever-present landscape of financial scams.